So after everything, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over, but not start over, if that makes sense. Hello, my lovelies. This is a special announcement for this section of the video, and it's going to be quick because, as you know, from recording dates versus the actual date you guys are seeing is delayed. So when you are seeing this video versus what date I'm recording this, are obviously off. But the week that you are seeing this video is the same week that my book, The Pen Name Project, has released officially. So I felt like it would be weird for me not to mention it at all in this section of the video, even though it hasn't happened for me in real time yet. But I wanted to say that now. So if you are interested in checking that out, the link is in the description for you to get your own copy. And yeah, just wanted to mention that here. So moving on to the rest of the video. Good morning, my lovelies. It is a brand new week. It is Monday morning, very early in the morning, as you can tell from the lighting of my office. And we have skipped forward, so it's even brighter. It feels so weird. I hate skip. Like, I'm going to be so honest with you. I hate fall forward because, or is it? No, it's fall back. I'm sorry. It's fall back. I hate fall back because it's dark all the time. When we were kids, it was like the best thing ever because it's like, yeah, I get an extra hour of sleep. Heck yeah. But then when you're an adult, it's like, it's dark all the time. I can't handle this. It's dark every day, all day, it feels like. So us, especially the seasonal depression girlies and boys, like it sucks. But it is a brand new week. So let us talk about what we're going to be doing for the author curriculum for this week. So for creative writing, yes, I have it as 4,000 to 6,000 again. That is just, again, I have that number calculated based off of what I had ideally wanted for the end of this challenge, but we're just going to put in as much words as we can. We're going to stop this whole, like, it must be this value, like we have to get to the 4,000 to 6,000, and just, we're going to try for that. That would be fantastic if we get there. But we're just going to do what we can this week. So, and I feel a little bit better because my creative, well, is a little bit more full than it had been in previous weeks. So I think in addition to working on the word count, I think finding things to help me with that creative well and helping to fill it is probably going to be something else that I add to the goal for creative writing this week. So that is for creative writing. For editing and proofreading, we're going to go through, I know I had said that I was going to do it before, but we're going to go through, I'm still waiting on some feedback, but we're going to go through and we're going to highlight some feedback from my author friend in Project TF or Twisting Fates. So we're going to go through and find those story feedback. So that way, when I do get the feedback from my other two beta readers, I'm a little bit like ready to go, sort of, so to speak. So we've got that for, good morning, Luna. Would you like to say good morning again? She's just been very needy recently. You're very needy. You can sit in my lap. How about that? You're off camera, but you can sit in my lap. Is that better? Yeah, she wants scritches, so I'm going to scritch her while we're talking. So for classic lit, yes, it is still the same as it was last week because as it turns out, I was actually further behind than I thought that I was. And I think I'm at chapter 76 now, as opposed to what I thought it was, which was starting at chapter 76. So I'm now at chapter 76. So I would like to continue and just get to the point where I can get to chapter 80 and not stress out and be like, oh, I have to do a bunch of catch up. So we're just going to take it easy. We're maintaining. We're not going to stress out. We're going to keep it pretty simple, pretty chill. So we're going to try to meet the goal that we've been trying to meet for it for a while. But in addition to that, a friend of mine, J.M. Hollis, which I'll tag her somewhere on the screen, and I have been talking about doing a reading challenge. Luna, I've been thinking about doing a reading challenge where we read Jasad Air, which is a book that I've had on my shelf for a while. I had got, if you saw one of my previous videos, I got the sequel to it because everybody's been telling me how great the sequel is. So I had picked that up, but I still haven't read the first book. And so she and I were talking and we're like, that was one of the books on her TBR. So I think we had talked about for the month of November, we're going to try and read it. So That is going to be something I'm starting this week. We're going to annotate. It's going to be fun. When I annotate, I do just tabs, but I'll explain more when we get to doing that. So that's for Classic Lit. We're going to do the Monte Cristo, and we're going to start Jasad Air. For health and community, health and wellness, we're going to just maintain with that one as well. We're going to keep up with the morning routine. We're going to keep up with the night routine. We're going to see how things go. Yes, I'm still scratching Luna off screen. We're going to just maintain those. We're going to talk a little bit more about like some other routine-ish things I can work on and that kind of thing. But right now it's going to be purely just maintaining and just keeping the status quo. Because again, if I add too much too soon, I feel like I'm going to just like, I don't want to say crack, but I'm definitely going to just like fail. I'll set myself up for failure if I add too much too quickly. So we're going to just focus on maintaining this week. And then for the sculpting, I've had it on there for a little bit just because I haven't had a chance to work on it with everything else going on, but we're just going to work on, if we can this week, that'll be part of my health and wellness this week, is focusing on doing just fun activities. So for that, we'll work on just some clay, sculpting some clay, and I'll actually sit down and work on sculpting some actual, instead of just the prototypes, I'll work on sculpting some actual stuff and see how that goes. I'd love to get some stuff done for Twisting Fates to get that up and going. And then for actual pen name stuff, we'll see how that goes. So, whoop, okay. Goodbye, Luna. So that's what I have for this week for author curriculum. So let us get started. So thought I'd have a little chat at the end of today. I'm actually feeling really good about writing today because I was able to get about just shy of like 2,000 words. So I'm really, really happy about that. We're at the point in the story where I'm starting to feel like things are starting to pick up a little bit more. Something I did do, and I'd actually been talking to another author friend of mine about this a little bit, but I went through and just sort of like, I'm trying to get away from that thing where like you're editing yourself as you're writing, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to like get into the habit of like, oh, well, I can't, progress with the story because I need to do this and I need to do that. So I'm trying to do the thing where like you go through the story, get that first draft done, and then go back and edit, if that makes sense. So I've been trying not to edit myself too much along in the process. Howsoever, there were a couple of scenes that I've written that I'm like, okay, I do like these. However, I'm not sure if like the order of them makes sense or if these should be here, if it's too much filler too soon, and if these should go later in the story, if I should remove them. So instead of like editing those, instead of just like going back and like redoing those, what I've started doing is just like, okay, I know that this is a scene that I'm questioning. So I just put like, cause I'm using Scrivener for it. So I'm just putting like changing the icon basically. So while I'm working on it right now, when I'm working on a scene, I change the icon to a little pencil. So that way it's like a visual representation of like, okay, this scene is either I'm working on it or I've written based off of like where it lays out in like the hierarchy of the scenes, if that makes sense. So if it's at the bottom and I see a little pencil icon on the last scene, I know that that's the last scene I was working on. So what I've started doing with this like, revision kind of thought is I've changed certain scenes that I'm already like, I think this might be something I need to review going into the edits or whatnot. So I've started changing those icons to like a little alert or a warning kind of icon. So that way I'm able to look at those. And again, if I feel strongly enough about this, I might go back and do those. So, but it's just more like a visual cue to me. Like I already am having these thoughts. If I'm feeling strong, if I get to like the halfway point, which I am happy to report that as of this very moment, as of recording this, we just hit 30,000 words. So we're already making great progress right now this week. So I'm back, baby, back in the game. But we're at the 30,000 word mile marker, which is a really, really good step forward. And I think having those scenes kind of clutter my mind of like, oh, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like where this is going. I don't know. Going back and marking those scenes of like, okay, well, let's just go review them. If you feel strongly enough about them as you get to like the 50,000 or, you hit the halfway point, which is another, I think I said it as like 80,000 words, but that's just more of like when you like are talking to people about like what a traditionally published romance novel is, it's usually 80 to 80,000 words and above. So if I hit the 80,000 words, at least I know I've hit like where I should be at the minimum. And then I'll have room to add more if I need to, sort of thing, if that makes sense. Like Pen Name Project is about Pen Name Project is about 103,000 words, I believe. Twisting Fates is about 85,000 words, I believe. Yeah, I think it's about 5,000 words. So my goal is to hit that minimum, because that, again, to me, that's like, okay, I've hit novel length. We're good. We've hit the bare minimum, so to speak, which again, that's not to say that's the standard or whatnot. That's just the kind of arbitrary number I've had. And to hit the halfway point, if I'm still feeling this way, so if I hit 40,000 words, which will be 10,000 words from now, if I'm still feeling this way about those particular scenes, I will be able to go back and re-review those, I guess, and kind of see. What I also have been enjoying is I have also, for the first 6 scenes, I sent it off to a critique partner who is also the same person I talked about with the reading portion for this week, where I'm going to be starting to read the Jasad Heir. She and I have exchanged a couple chapters, and she gave me some really great feedback. I gave her some feedback on hers. We've been working, chit-chatting about stuff, and she had some really great feedback for mine. And I honestly have taken it and just put it aside for the time being. But I think when I hit that, 40,000 word halfway point is when I'll go back, and when I'm allowing myself to like re-review these other scenes and stuff like that, I'll go back and start incorporating that feedback where I feel it's needed, or where I, obviously agree that it's needed, which she had some really valuable and great feedback for me that was just awesome. So that's kind of where I'm at with the writing right now. Again, I'm excited because, again, I hit 2,000 words, almost 2,000 words today. So I'm very excited about that. So if I'm able to hit another 2,000 words tomorrow, that'll be 4,000, which will be the minimum for the week, which honestly will be fantastic. I'll feel a little bit more accomplished. Again, we're not focusing on the word count for this week. We're not focusing on forcing ourselves to do the word count, but it would be really nice for just my self-esteem right now. It would be really great if I was able to meet it. So that's what I've got for you guys right now. So we will go on to the next day. Hello, lovelies. It is now about 10:30 on Tuesday night. We've added another 1,000 words. So currently we're at just under, I think, I probably should have done my math before I put this camera on, shouldn't I? I'm just shy of 3,000 words. So honestly, with how my writing slump the past, I'd say 2 weeks has been, where I've barely been able to add any word count, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now with writing. So I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight. I think what I might do over the weekend, just to kind of see how I'm feeling. Again, I don't want to push it too much, but I might try to get some more word count over the weekend when I have more time, depending on how things go, but we shall see. So I think it'll be fun. We'll see how it goes, but that is currently what I have for tonight. So I am exhausted. I'm going to go to bed, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hello, my lovelies. So for right now, as you can see, I'm sitting here in front of my bookshelves because I have some giveaway stuff to start getting ready to send out, because as you guys might have seen, I announced it over here, and over on my Instagram, I announced the winners for the birthday giveaway. So right now, as of filming this, I am putting those together so that I can send them out hopefully by this weekend. Again, I am terrible on timing and stuff like that, but my hope is that I can get these sent out by this weekend. And I also realized when I had sent out the initial batch of these that I forgot 2 other people who I just needed their addresses from. So I completely forgot to add them into the last batch of ones that I sent out, which everybody else has already gotten them to my knowledge, and they have really enjoyed these boxes. So I'm very happy about that. But these are for the giveaway. So I thought we could just sit down and have a little chit chat while I am working on this. So Pen Name Project has been kind of like, again, haha, shameless plug. Pen Name Project has been kind of one of those books where it's kind of hard for me to talk about, if that makes sense, because like it's already done. Like I can show these parts of it, and having these clips in the, my author curriculum is perfect because it's like, it's already done. I don't have a dedicated video of me like working on it, which there's dedicated stuff for Twisting Fates. There's going to be designated stuff for Project DDD, and basically every other project that I do going forward, it's going to have, YouTube stuff on it. But when I started YouTube over here, I'd already finished writing the book. It was already edited. It was basically just ready to go when I started doing this. So it was like, I gave it 6 months from the time I submitted it to the copyright office to publish it, basically, which I might tighten that time frame down a little bit because I realize that that's a lot of time now. But I wanted to make sure that the copyright goes through. But now I've learned since then, which if you did not know this, in the United States, I can't speak for other countries, in the United States at least, you are guaranteed copyright of something you have written. That is yours, is if you can prove it, like, which obviously you can if you have the documentation showing, you working on it or whatnot. It is guaranteed copyrighted for yours. But having a copyright, I will stress the importance of get your book copyrighted, because it basically fast tracks if anything like an issue comes up or somebody tries, which I have heard of this. I have not experienced it myself, hopefully, and I hopefully never will. But there have been instances where authors have had their book basically pirated, and then those people try to put the book up as like they wrote it. And so it's like a whole huge thing. And like, again, you can prove that you wrote it and all that kind of stuff, but it's like a whole huge headache. But if it's a copywritten work that you have the copyright patent for, it makes the process a whole hell of a lot easier. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough time I basically wanted to make sure that when I sent that stuff off, I was giving myself 6 months of like, okay, the copyright is going in at this time, 6 months, I'm going to go ahead and just keep going on the process to get it published. And hopefully within those 6 months, the book is ready, I get the copyright back, which now knowing that like it's guaranteed and all that kind of stuff, it's not necessary to have it before you've had it released or whatnot. Like, obviously it's ideal, but like you don't have to have it before then. So that was a whole kerfuffle because I didn't know that, like, I had done it with Tosca where I had the copyright well before I published it and all this other stuff. Oh, I'm out of pens. I had it published. I had the copyright well before I published it. So it was one of those things where I was just kind of like, all right, well, whatever. I'll get it figured out. Sorry. I honestly should have had this all ready to go before I started filming this. I think that's it. Yeah, I ran out of other materials, so whoopsies. Anyway, so it's been kind of a weird process with Pen Name Project with all of that said, because everything's already done. It's ready to go. So even though I'm super excited and as of filming this, there's 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks until Pen Name Project is published, which is just absolutely asinine to me because it's like, it went from this like idea in my head. Hello, Luna. It went from this idea in my head to a fully fledged novel that people can read and enjoy. And as of right now, I'm also really excited because I've seen at least, I think as of this morning, I saw 4 reviews go up on Goodreads, which was really exciting. And people seem to really like it. I think I'm currently at like a 4.75. Yeah, because I think it was 3 5-stars and 1 4-star, which honestly, if anything is above like a 3-star, I'm happy. Because I know when I'm talking about books and when I'm like grading a book, that sounds stupid, right? Grading a book. I'm not grading anything. If I'm reading and reviewing a book, I know that I personally, if I rate it 3 stars, it's kind of like I liked it enough, but like, whatever. So honestly, if I get 3 stars and above, I'm like, I did it. I made it. I made it past the threshold, or the bare minimum, I should say. But Pen Name Project is, again, weird to talk about because it's already published, or it's going to be published, and like all these other things. And like, sorry, I'm also doing this at the same time talking to you guys, but it's been so much fun, and I don't really know how to talk about Pen Name Project more with you guys, which again, it's one of those weird things. And like, you've probably seen it more on shorts than on my long form content, because that's usually where I've been posting like my like more markety kind of stuff for Pen Name Project. So I haven't really talked too much on the long form stuff about it because I haven't really known how to, if I'm quite honest with you guys. So I guess this is me doing it a little bit, but I think what I've been like struggling with most recently is somebody had asked me, and I probably have mentioned this before, but it's kind of been popping up a little bit more, and I'm sorry for the noise because I know I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna hang you over here so you guys can hopefully still hear me, but I'm not screaming into the mic anymore. The one thing that I've been kind of struggling with for like all of this is somebody had asked me, and again, I probably have mentioned it before to at least some degree, of like one of my author friends had asked me like, aren't you excited? Like, are you not just like so over the moon right now? Because like you've got Pen Name Project coming out soon, you've got Twisting Fates that you're editing, and you've got, you're basically just waiting for beta reader feedback, and then that's going to be going down the pipeline. And then you've got Project DDD that you're working on, and that sounds like it's coming along really nicely. And like, aren't you just so over the moon excited? And I'm like, yes and no. Yes and no. Because like, it's one of those things where like, again, I'm a workaholic at heart. I get it, honestly. If you've met my mother, you know why. Woman is a workaholic through and through. We joke about it, but like through and through a workaholic. Passed it down to me. Thanks for that, Mom. Couldn't give me your brains and intelligent and math skills. You gotta give me the workaholic gene. Thank you for that. But so it's hard to be really, really excited about, this release. It's honestly kind of hard, even just this release, which this is the first romance I've written. Like, this is not the first book technically, but Tosca was more of a pet project. So like, I don't really talk that much about it. I don't push it very much because it's more of a personal project that like you can read if you want to. This is the one Pen Name Project, and all the other ones are the ones that I want to talk about more. These are the books of like that I really wanted to write that are just fun and all that kind of stuff. And I am really excited about it, but I have to be honest with you. Sometimes, especially most recently, I'm just kind of like, I am so tired. I am so tired. I am so overwhelmed sometimes. And I'm just like, gotta be honest. I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What is she doing? But I think I have that other. See, and I'm just so disorganized right now. I'm usually so just top of the line organized over everything. But right now, I'm unorganized. But yeah, I'm going to be honest. Like, I have not been as excited recently as I want to be because, like, I guess I just don't know how to feel. Because, this is the first book that, like, I'm not going to retread all that, but, everything already said, like, this is a big deal for me. And I am really excited about it. But at the same time, it's like, it's such a process that like, if you have written anything, if you've published anything, if you've done anything like this and you have it on like, almost like a pipeline essentially, which again, all of my stuff is essentially on a pipeline because it's like pen name in process to be released, Twisting Fates in process and editing right now, Project DDD drafting. So like, there's like a little bit of a pipeline going on, and it can be a little difficult sometimes to really like get really hyped about one of them when it goes through into like a different phase, because it's like, okay, well, I've got like 5 million other balls that I'm juggling right now. So it's like, it's a little hard to be like, let's be really excited about this right now, which here are my little notes for my giveaway people, which is completely side tangent. All of these romances are written under my pen name, which is Lee Creek. Elizabeth C. Cabrera, which is my actual name, is going to be more for like my mysteries and literary fiction, stuff like that. So that's why you see, like, again, as a side tangent, that's why you see both Lee Creek and Elizabeth C. Cabrera mixed all over my channel. That's why, because Lee Creek is my pen name. But, and see, I do these side tangents, and then I completely forget what the main point was. I forget the whole point. Anyway, so working on my little, things here, but it's hard sometimes to really get excited about something when you have just so many other balls that you're juggling. Because it's like, again, I'm working on this and I'm doing this and I'm writing this and I'm, yada, 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 yada. So I want to be more excited about it. Like who wouldn't want to be excited about this? This is exciting things. I'm publishing a book. I have reached my childhood dream of publishing a book. Like how many people do you know can say that they have from start to finish written a book, finished it, edited it, marketed it, and now is publishing it? Like, I think I saw some graphic somewhere where it's basically like a super tiny percentage, like a bunch of people are always like, I'm totally going to write a book. And you know those people. Everyone knows at least one person. Ta-da. Everyone knows at least one person in their life who has said something when you have mentioned like, oh, I think I'm going to write a book. Oh, I really want to write a book. And they're just kind of like, I'm going to write a book too. And then they never do. And again, nothing against those people. We love those people, to each their own. But you know what I'm talking about. Like those people who are like, they always talk about writing a book and they always talk about like all the things about writing a book, but they never actually write the book. There's a larger margin of those people than people who actually write a book. So it's like, I should be celebrating because I'm like, I did it. I made it. I'm one of the ones who actually did something about it. So it's like this whole kerfuffle or whatnot. But when you have a million other things going on and you have depression and you have anxiety and you have all these other things going on, it's like, okay, it's another day. It's another day. But, so it's like, and again, I don't know why I'm ranting at you guys. I'm putting this probably in the communications section because, technically it is kind of communications and I wasn't really planning necessarily on having these, but I forgot that I had I knew these were coming up, but I didn't put it into my author curriculum. So like, I knew this was going to be part of this week, but like, I forgot to add it. So like, surprise, you get another me packaging a box. You get more of me packaging boxes. Blah, 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 blah. I can't talk either. Don't mind me. I just work here. Oh, I know what I was going to say before. I'm such an idiot. I know what I was going to say before. I have had such a time with my signature. This is going all the way, I know, to side tangent back. I've had such a hard time because Lee Creek is my pen name. When I sign things, my instinct is to go with just what I usually sign with, which is Liz. Everybody on the planet who is like close to me, friends, all that kind of stuff. My parents don't do it, but everybody else I know, husband, everybody else calls me Liz. Like I'm Liz. Everybody calls me Liz. I'm not going to be able to sign a book by Lee Creek as Liz. So the number of books I have already signed where I've kind of had to like, has been phenomenal. So for all of my people, I'm talking directly to my giveaway people probably, and anybody else who's received this book from me that has it signed currently as of right now. I'm so sorry because my signature has not been finalized. I don't know how to sign things as Lee Creek yet. I'm still figuring that out. So, yeah, good luck. Have fun with that. I'm still trying to figure out how to sign books as my pen name. So that was what the original side tangent was about. Again, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing these days. Oh, good Lord. Did he break something? You can't see, but Luna's like right here off camera. Just guard it because I've got these little danger noodles in here for these packages. And she likes to eat them. So we need to keep a close eye on her to make sure she doesn't do that. So see, this is why I can't multitask when I'm doing certain things because I'm trying to talk to you, trying to do this, and I forget what I'm saying, and then I forget what I was supposed to be doing. So this is just a disaster in the making. So I won't keep this too long. And again, you've already seen me do these packages. I kind of want to just do a little rant about wanting to be excited about these releases and whatnot, and just my honest feelings about it because I want so desperately to be excited about this stuff, but I'm not gonna lie. I've just been struggling a little bit on all of that because, like, again, I want so desperately to be more excited about it because it is my dream come true to publish a book. and to put these books out and to have this career that I'm going for. Because again, right now I'm still doing this with a full-time job, and my goal, my dream come true would be that I can eventually make enough money that I can do this full-time, which that is a long time in the future, and that's if it even happens, but that has always been my dream. The fact that I'm already kind of like taking steps in that direction is a huge milestone. And I want to just hold space for that, because that is a huge, huge, huge milestone that I want to sit in, I want to enjoy, but it is very hard when, again, you have so many other things going on. You have this pipeline of things going on. I have a life outside of working and YouTube and all this other stuff, which again, and I do YouTube now, which I have absolutely loved. It is the best, one of the best decisions I've ever made, honestly. And I remember being in like college and being like, oh my God, it would be so much fun if I did my own YouTube. Like, but I don't know what to talk about and all that stuff. And that was back before I really, thought I could do any of this by myself. So, it is what it is. But like, all that to say, is so much, and I'm so grateful for everything, but it can be very overwhelming at times. And because it's overwhelming, it kind of dampens how you feel about other things, including like releases and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that going forward, and again, this is 2 weeks before the actual release, so I'm hoping that once we get closer to the actual date, that those feelings start catching up with me a little bit more. So fingers crossed on that. I know this is a super long rant, and I'll wrap it up here and I'll finish with these boxes, but thank you for kind of hanging out with me and listening to my rant, and we will continue on to the next section. So where'd my pen go? Oh. I give up. Hello, my lovelies. It is now Sunday morning, and I was feeling the urge to get some writing done, and I don't know if that was a mistake or if the best thing I could have done for right now, because again, like I've said before, I'm not bogged down in the story, but I have been having a hard time like really getting into the space for it at times. And I haven't been able to figure out why, but I think I have. And I'm pretty sure I've already said it in a past section of even just this video of like, oh, well, I think what I'm going to do is wait and, just write everything as it is and then come back. But I think that's actually a mistake. And I think what I actually need to do, and what I have already started to do just off of just this morning, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, as in I've already done it, because I have no self-restraint and I'm a liar, apparently. But I went through and I was just sitting there looking at what I was writing, and I looked at because again, I use Scrivener for my writing and I love it. It's so great for exactly this reason, because I like to pick stuff up and move it around. I don't like having scenes and stuff like that like set in one place, because then it's like, oh, now I got to move it here, and oh, did I move it? Like with this, it's sort of like pull, you pick it up, you pull it, and you put it where you want it. So I love it for that reason. And again, because of that, I was looking through the scene list, because it's got the thing on the side, and I have everything named kind of just like a rough, like, like meet cute with Henry, who's the main love interest or whatnot. So I have those that like brief detail on like the side. So I was sitting there just now, like, again, trying to write for this one particular scene. And I was looking through it and I was just like, I don't like where this is hitting so far in the story, if that makes sense. Because like, I want the story to flow naturally and all that kind of stuff. But the problem I've been having with this particular story versus some of the other stories that I've written so far is that, whereas like with Pen Name Project, they're friends to lovers, they already knew each other. With Twisting Fates, they're, grad school rivals, they already knew each other by the time the story has started. With this, it is, just meeting this person, that kind of thing. So I've wanted to have some kind of build up of like them, slowly getting to know each other and that kind of thing. But I'm starting to realize that maybe it's too slow. So like there's a, kind of like I don't want to say an inciting incident, because it's not really the inciting incident, but there is an incident where like they bond with each other and that kind of thing. And they talk more after, like, while this thing is going on. So I've realized that that's a little too far down in where the story is. So I was sitting there just now and I was writing, because that's the scene I'm working on right now. So I was sitting there and I'm like working on the scene. I'm like, I don't like where this is hitting. Like it's too far in, and like there's other stuff that's going to come up, and I feel like that's just, it's too close together with some of this other stuff that's going to happen. So I was like, okay, I think I need to move this. And I had already mentioned, like, I know that I had put like I put icons on like the scene. I've, gone through and I went, that's how I've had things ordered, but I was going through here and I was just like, okay, I think if I'm going to continue, which obviously I'm going to, but if I'm going to continue, I think I need to actually go back, and there's going to be so much change that needs to happen in order to like reorder these things that if I don't do it now, it's just going to be a huge mess later on when I, have to come back and do it later. So I'd rather just go ahead and start doing that now. So I went through just now and I was like, okay, the scenes that I had like little icon changes or whatnot, I put like a little warning sign of like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep this scene here or that kind of thing. So I just went through the list and I, was like, okay. And then I started just numbering it. So I put like a little number in front of it of like, okay, this is the number this is the order of scenes that I'm like thinking that I'm going to have it in. So I was like, okay, went through that, put the numbers on there, looked at it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's going to require a pretty significant change to those scenes because obviously they fall in different places now. So I went through, moved them around, put them where I need to go. So I think going forward, I'm not starting over. Let me say this right up front. I'm not starting over, but I am in a sense because I need to go back to the start because I'd already, even the first two scenes, I had already been like, I don't like how these are going. I don't like how these start, which again, it's the start of the story. It's kind of important. So I was like, I think I need to go and like merge these two scenes, if that makes sense. So I already knew that going off the bat. So I'm like, okay, let's just start from the top and move back down. So I'm not starting over, but it's going to take me a little bit longer to get to the end of the draft than I initially had anticipated, which obviously for this challenge, I wanted to have the first draft written by the end of December, which I don't think I'm going to meet that. I already, I'm, at 30,000 words and it's, it's November basically. So it's like, I don't think I'm going to make that anyway. And again, the point of this whole challenge was, yes, I would love for that to happen, but I don't think that basically any progress towards getting this draft done is good progress. So getting to where I'm at, even now, if even just I stop the challenge right this second, I still have 30,000 words that I didn't have at the start of this challenge. So for that, I'm grateful for it. But I think for the purpose of the story, I need to go back to the start and like re-edit. I know it's a terrible, like everybody always tells you like, oh, don't edit yourself as you're writing and just let it go. Like just let it flow. Well, they obviously haven't written a book. And I don't want to say it like that, but like if the story feels like it's not right, just edit. Like it's not going to kill anybody. Again, you're still writing it. So it's like, just do what you feel is right for you, I guess. Like, yes, that advice applies a lot of the time, but like when you're writing the story and if it doesn't feel like it's flowing correctly, then I don't see a problem of like going back and editing what you have so that to make it fit what flow you think is going to work better. So that is my current plan now, which again, I have already started doing that. So I think going into next week, I think I'm going to change how I like structure the creative writing aspect of this. So I think I'm not going to put it as like, oh, write this many words because like that's been my goal every week. I haven't met it most of the time. So it's like, why set myself up for failure in that regard? Even though again, the whole point now is not like focusing on the word count. It's more just making sure the story flows. So I think I'm going to restructure how I like put the little goals on each week to match this. So it's going to be like, okay, we're going to work on editing, scenes 1 through 4 today or this week or something like that. And so that way I can catch up to where I'm at in the story where I was writing, if that makes sense. So I think I'm going to do that going forward. So that's what I have for the creative writing. This is going to be my end of video wrap up right now. So that is my creative writing, I guess, aspect of it. For editing and editing and proofreading, I was able to go through the notes that I had for Twisting Fates from my writer friend. There wasn't as many, and she'd already told me that there wasn't as many like story edits that she had found that I need to fix like right off the bat. But I am still waiting on the feedback from my 2 other friends who I know one of them has the survey and she just needs to fill it out kind of thing. So I'm just waiting on that. So I don't want to do too many edits up front. So I think what I'm going to do is she had a good number of like more like proofready grammar-ish kind of stuff. So I might go through and start doing some line editing next week just to start getting that done. And hopefully by the time I get the feedback from my other two friends, I'll have at least some headway into editing or whatnot. So that's what I currently have for that one. Health and wellness this week has been interesting because like I'll feel like I take 2 steps forward and then I take 2 steps back, because like in terms of the like my morning and night routine, those are going pretty well. I've been doing my, getting up, having my coffee, having all of this stuff, having my ritual, so to speak. And that has been really, really nice. I think my biggest struggle, and I'm going to be so honest with you guys, my biggest struggle with nutrition and food, that has been my struggle this week, has been with nutrition, of like making healthy choices. Let's just say that I have not been making very healthy choices of what I should be eating and what I should not be eating and how much of it. So that has been kind of a blow to my self-esteem this week, because it's like I have this issue that I've been working on, and some weeks it's really, really great and I'm doing such a good job and, pat myself on the back kind of thing. And then weeks like this where I'm like, not again, damn it. So I don't want to talk too much about that because it is such a personal thing, but that is kind of where I'm at with health and wellness this week. Is like, there have been some good things that have been going on. There have been some bad things that's been going on in terms of just, keeping things straight and loose and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really have much other updates for you. I'm still working on the reading stuff. I think I need to give up this whole like thing where I'm trying to do of like doing certain things by certain points or whatnot. I don't think that's working for me. So got to figure that out going forward, because I want to continue this challenge. I really, really do. And I have reinvigorated myself in some areas, and in other areas it's kind of falling at the wayside, where it was like, again, I was so good about the Count of Monte Cristo stuff for the longest. Like that was one of the ones where like almost every single week I was meeting those goals. And then the past couple of weeks I just have not, because I've just not been in a reading mood. I've got to figure some stuff out with this course. And again, I don't want to give up on it, because I have been having fun with it. And that's ironic, I guess, because of, what I'm saying now, but I have been having fun with it and I want to continue. And I think I agree with some comments that I had seen of like, I think if I were to do something like this going forward, I wouldn't do it for an entire semester. I would do it for like maybe a month, maybe, just a shorter period of time. So I don't feel like I'm setting myself up for failure so much. So that way I can designate more time. Does that make sense? Like I can do shorter bursts so I don't feel as like strung out, so to speak, on these longer haul sort of things. But that's a problem for future Liz right now. I'm not going to worry about that at this very moment, but I wanted to get on here and give you this little wrap up, because there have been some great things that have happened this week. And again, like I have gotten a good amount of writing done. Yes, I have the setback now of like, I'm going to have to go back and edit some of the stuff in order to continue. But I think in terms of the story, that's going to be a positive thing. I think that's going to help in the long run. Editing has been done. Some editing has been done for Twisting Fates, so that has been good. And then, some of the other stuff is just stuff I have to work on as we go through this process. So that is all I have for you guys for this week. I thank you guys for being here on this journey with me. It means honestly so much to see you guys here and talking with me and interacting with all my videos and stuff like that, because it means the world. So I hope you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you guys hopefully in next week's video. Have a good one.